few weeks ago I built a Riden power supply. It's a power supply built from a very low cost Riden switching power supply front end. Quite a popular series of videos, a lot of people seemed interested, and it does show a lot of people are interested in actual electronics that they want to get their hands on, not just running demo boards. And that was quite encouraging. It was quite a pleasing series of videos to do, and had a lot of good feedback from that. Because of that, I've decided to, on a fairly regular basis, look for cheap equipment that we can build. And this is the next one I'm looking at. So this arrived today. Cost me £20 delivered. Not particularly well packaged. As I say, I haven't opened it yet. So I thought we'd go through this and assemble it, and we can have a look and see what it is, whether it's worth buying. As I say, I paid £20 for this delivered, and it is a digital oscilloscope. So we'll just get this opened up. So although I use scopes that cost quite a lot of money, what I'm trying to do here is show something that you can pick up for just a few pounds. As ever, I'm not saying this is good or bad at this point. I'm just going to go through and assemble it, and we can all decide whether it's worth the money or whether it's a piece of junk. But the reason I went for this is quite often you'll see me using a scope. It's usually way overkill for what I'm doing. I just want to look at some signals, usually fairly low frequency. Sometimes this just wouldn't cut it. I need something high frequency or higher accuracy. But sometimes just a very simple scope would suffice. And I saw this kit and thought it was worth having a look at. So it comes largely assembled. All the surface mount parts are already fitted to the boards. I should point out here I have absolutely no affiliation with the people supplying this. I don't get anything from promoting or otherwise this piece of equipment. I just thought it might be interesting for us to take a look at. So it comes with two boards, display, the case, all the parts, and what looks like a user manual. I'm hoping it's in English. Certainly seems to be. And it's got an assembly manual, so we'll work our way through this, we'll get it assembled and see if it's any good. We'll do a few tests with it and see if it was worth the £20 I paid for it. Okay, so let's get started. Step one, apply power and see if it catches fire. So we'll try doing that. I've got the Rigol set to 9 volts as the instructions say. I'll turn the power on. It says we should see something on the screen. Okay, well, we're seeing something. I'll turn that back off. And the next step, okay, so we need to bend the terminal as shown and fit it to the board. Okay, so I'm assuming it must mean this terminal, because that's the only one that looks anything like that. Okay, looks like it's down here, so okay, I've got that soldered in place. I'll just get these parts out of the way for now. And the next step, okay, and the next step is to fit the power connection. Optional. In what way optional? Okay, well I'll fit it anyway. Again, it doesn't really make it particularly clear where it's supposed to go. So presumably it's in this position. Okay, so that fits there. So I have that fitted, and the next step, slide switch. And it looks like we need to keep referring to whichever image shows us what we're looking for. Fitted. I'm just going to lower the camera a bit so you can see what I'm doing a bit more easily. That's a bit better. And so the next step is to fit the header. Appears to be correct. I'll just get these soldered in. Okay, so I have those soldered into place, and the next step, tactile switches. So again, looking at the diagram or the photograph, it doesn't show them on that one, so look at this one. So it looks like they go on the same side as the display, which would make sense. So I'll get these 4 switches fitted. Okay, so I've fitted the 4 switches. I've also carried out the next step as well, which was to remove R30, which apparently just bypasses one of the switches. And so the next step is assembly of the analog board, which presumably is the second board. So it's saying fit all these resistors, which I'm assuming they've already fitted. So I think it's a different board they're showing there, so presumably they've updated it. And the capacitors appear to be fitted as well, so slide switch. Again, looking at the image here more than the close-up. The close-up's not very useful because it doesn't really show you on the board where it is. 2 position 3 pole, so that appears to be this switch, and it goes on the same side as the components. So it goes on this side. And also the BNC connector and the pin header. Okay, that's that soldered. I have to say it's not the easiest board to solder to in the world. It doesn't seem to take to solder very well, but it's not too bad. So next step is capacitors. So it looks like we've got 3 to fit. Make sure we get them the right way round. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, I'm not a fan of layouts where the designator for the component's polarity is hidden once the component's fitted. It's not a particularly good design, because once you've fitted it you can't tell if you've done it wrong. Okay, that's that done. So we appear to have finished step 2. If we go on to look at step 3, so we mount the encoder to the encoder PCB. Okay, I've got the encoder fitted to the encoder PCB, and so the next step is assemble the front module. Okay, it looks like what we have to do is screw the analog board into the bottom of the case, and presumably we need to fit the end cover first. And the screws to secure this are extremely small, so I'll just get these 4 screws fitted. just tighten those down. Okay, so I think we're getting close now, and so the next thing I'm guessing is we slot that through there, and at the same time plug the two parts together while simultaneously fitting this. So it's one of these projects where you need 15 hands, and then we make sure that these engage, which they do, and then presumably it's just a case of fitting the last part of the cover. Okay, it doesn't seem to fit on very well that way around, so I'll try reversing it. Okay, that seems to be better. I'll try putting the screws in. Okay, and there's supposed to be one spare screw of each size, so looks like we've got them all fitted apart from the two spares. Okay, fit the encoder knob. Okay, well that's it assembled. I'll just remove the protective cover again, and we'll see if we can power it up and if it actually does anything. Well, at least that fits, so I'll switch it on. Power. Okay, well it's doing something. And it appears it can respond to signals. So in the next video I'll run it through its paces, do a few tests on it, see how it performs, and we'll see then if it's worth the money I paid for it. Assembly wasn't too bad, the instructions aren't particularly bad, they're not as clear as they could be. But yeah, in the next video we'll have a look and see how it performs.